Hello and welcome to Real Watchers Movie Club. My name is Garrett.
And I'm Kevin.
And we are your hosts. Movie Club is a show where we pick a movie every week and discuss it, just like a book club. On today's show, we are continuing our August month-long theme of celebrating films by directors of color. And our film this week is the 2019 horror film, Us. Our thoughts and more are coming up on Movie Club. Released in 2019, Us was directed by Jordan Peele and stars Lupita Nyong'o, Winston Duke, and Elizabeth Moss. Husband and wife Gabe and Adelaide Wilson take their kids to the beach house, expecting to unplug and unwind with friends. But as night descends, their serenity turns to tension and chaos when some shocking visitors arrive uninvited. The film currently has a 3.6 out of 5 on Letterboxd. Before we dive into our thoughts, though, we do want to issue a spoiler warning. We will be discussing plot points, twists, revelations, and everything that happens over the course of this movie, and don't want to ruin it for you. So make sure you go and watch it yourself before continuing on. It's okay. You won't offend us. But stay tuned to find out what movie we're covering next week on the show, so that you can watch it before that episode comes out. Alrighty, Kevin, Us was your pick this week, and what led you to pick it?
This is the only movie that I haven't seen from the Jordan Peele 3 trilogy movie kind of a thing. So wanted to check it out since we were doing directors of color. And obviously it's his second movie out of the 3. So just wanted to check it out, see how it lines up with the other ones.
Yeah, I mean, he has only 3 movies at this point. He's been writing his 4th one for forever, which apparently the studio is not happy about. But, I mean, it makes sense. All his movies have really detailed scripts. So, I mean, it's gonna be a good one, hopefully. I didn't see this one in theaters when it came out. I mean, to be fair, I didn't see Us in Get Out in theaters either. Not for me. I wasn't as into horror movies back then as I was now, or as I am now. I mean, I was very excited to recheck this out. I watched this a couple of years ago. I want to say we watched this on the podcast or something. Maybe
I think so.
But I was excited to kind of check this one out again, see if my thoughts had changed. And I think they have changed just a little bit. But I was really interested to see what you thought on your first viewing. So why don't you go ahead and lead us off, Kevin? What did you think?
Are we doing spoilers or no?
Yeah, full spoilers. Let's just go ahead and go for it.
What I thought was it's a very interesting concept, which it doesn't hit the same way as other horror movies does. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just it's not a typical horror movie for me. Like, you can say this with Hereditary as well, another really good horror movie, but it doesn't hit me like a horror movie Hereditary does. There are some scary parts to it, but it's just so maybe different that it was just like, oh, okay, that's a good movie kind of a thing. So as I put it out there, it is a good movie, but it's not one of this is probably his I have Get Out, Nope, and this one at 3. So this is his 3rd best movie in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah, I do think, excuse me, I don't know why I'm yawning. I do think that this is the least good of his 3 movies. But by no means do I think that they are bad either. That it's bad either. I do think that it's good. I think that after a rewatch, some of the meaning is a little bit better in terms of coming through. But I think my biggest issue with the movie is that, or originally, was that the meaning of it, the idea, was too hard to decipher. It just didn't really make a lot of sense. Like it felt like they had the visual idea down before having any kind of theme or message. But I do think that after kind of rewatching this, I have some ideas on what the meaning should be, and I do think I like the movie a little bit better. But I think, like the rest of his movies, they're very metaphorical.
Yes,
they're definitely going for some sort of larger meaning. Whereas, Get Out was definitely about race, and Nope was about the human need to control nature and in our desire to witness spectacle. This one is much different. Not much different. It's very different. I think this movie is about us. and it's weird to say because that's the name of the movie, but it's about the parts of ourselves in our society that we would rather not acknowledge.
Yeah,
The
I
parts of
can
us that
see
we
that.
repress.
And that's with it being the concept that I really liked is the people, I'm going to call them doppelgangers because they obviously are doppelgangers, but how they are called shadows, which I thought that was that is an eerie part about this whole thing.
Well, they're called the tethered.
Oh, the tethered. Okay, well, because they tethered together. But when the main characters what's it called? Main characters, Tether was talking about how she was a shadow and everything like that. I thought that was a very interesting concept because you always have your shadow when the sun is out. So it's basically another person. And if something happens, that shadow is also gone, which is very interesting concept behind it. But the thing is, I don't know if it didn't hit me the right way, but I was interested in that. But then when everything else was happening, I was like, okay, I want to go back to the other part that you were talking about being a shadow, and this is what happened. And we can talk about the twist in this movie that the shadow is actually the real girl. And
probably the best part of the movie. Like that you genuinely don't see that coming.
Did not see that coming at all. And I'm like, oh, that's great. But then it made me think, I'm like, well, wouldn't have been the same thing if if the twist didn't happen? That's the thing. So I'm like, was there a point to this twist? That's the thing. If the twist didn't happen, I think it would have been the same movie.
Yeah, I think it does matter because at the end of the day, she's been the monster the whole time.
Yes.
And the reason she didn't want to go to Santa Cruz or whatever it is because she was afraid of being discovered. And because she has spent her entire life benefiting from a life that she stole.
Yes.
Which, if you think about it, is a lot of the same way that we look at privilege, right? Like white privilege or class privilege or whatever, right? We benefit off of people who don't have as good a life as we do. Yeah, and so I think that is a really good twist, and I think that's why it's the best part of the movie. I definitely don't think there's a whole thing about like the Hands Across America thing, which
I don't understand that. Like, I get it was like because that's when they met and that's the shirt she had on and stuff, but it was just like, okay, they're holding hands, but what is that going to accomplish in this for the tethered?
I don't really have an answer.
So only thing that popped into mind is the tethered could do better than the society that was in this movie.
Maybe,
but it didn't expand on that. They're like, oh, we could do better for this world, but then we don't get this is why we could do better, because we have been living this way, because we've been watching you something like that. And then maybe you can elaborate on the rabbit. Like, what? I like the little thing where it was like when I was the tether said I was petting the rabbit and it was like shards of glass when I was petting it, but it's nice and soft when it's out in the real world. Why is there even a rabbit here?
I think, well, rabbits are very widely used as experiment animals. And there is some sort of line given that the tethered are an abandoned experiment, so that there is a metaphorical connection between the two. Also, I think I saw an interview with Jordan Peele talk about how the rabbits are, how he described them as unsettling because on one hand they're both cute and familiar, but then they're also incredibly reproductive and very unpredictable. So, like just like the tethered are, or as a counterpoint to the tethered. Excuse me, but I think the rabbits are just kind of a stylistic choice. The scissors are kind of the bigger thing for me, because if you think about it, What are scissors? What are scissors?
They cut.
Well, it's two blades, one object
connected to one. Yeah.
So it's the duality, the relationships, right? So like Adelaide and Red, or above and below, rich and poor, conscious and unconscious, like these kinds of things. And I think that it also kind of shows the idea for wanting to sever that tether or that connection.
Well, they showed that in the call it the schoolhouse or laboratory underneath in the beach, where she's cutting the people that are joining hands. She's cutting them apart or pulling them apart. She pulls them apart at the end, but I can see that. But I wish they would have done something more with the scissors. Like, I get what you were saying with it being rich and poor and stuff like that, but have the scissors break and then really elaborate on that, because you saying that, I understand it now, but watching this movie, the scissors
doesn't come through.
It doesn't come through.
I literally was pouring. I was watching interviews. I was reading other Letterboxd reviews. I was, looking at people's analysis, because it's not a movie that gives you any easy answers. And I don't think that a movie has to give you easy answers.
No, it does. I'm not saying that it has to, but a little bit of like here and then away. It's to be like, oh my gosh, that's what it means, kind of a thing.
But here's the other thing I kind of thought of too, is that a lot of this movie. And I think that it starts with it being called Us, because I think that it is about us as people, right? But think about all the things that are in this movie. And think about what this movie makes scary.
It's us. Well, not us, but like humans, or not. I don't want to say not knowing what's out there, but
let me help you a little bit. What about a family vacation? What about a fun house? What about children, rabbits, the charity event, Hands Across America? All these things are familiar, comfortable things to us that are being twisted into scary and disturbing things.
Okay.
Just, I don't know, interesting kind of idea that popped in.
It is, because it's a family vacation, but no one wants to go to the beach. Well, why does no one want to go to the beach? Kind of a situation. Or the carnival. The carnival is fun. Why is that being scary? I don't think carnivals are too much fun. Sometimes they can be a little bit scary.
Depends on what's there.
Yeah, exactly.
No clowns.
But, I like clowns, but not scary clowns. But all it's clowns. Just I wish they would have done more.
Like, who wants to be around kids that bad? Like,
but I wish they would have done more with the house or maze itself. There was it's a big part in this movie, but it's barely being used in my perspective. Like, I wish when she was younger, we could have gotten more of the maze and her seeing herself multiple times. But what one of the mirrors move and she doesn't move, like kind of that creepiness vibe to it, instead of going in there, seeing her doppelganger or the tether, and then that happens. It would have been just a little bit more eerie to me if the house of mirrors, and then the mirrors move, or she moves, the tethered move, and then the real person stays right there. Like that kind of thing was missing from this movie.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to linger too much on meaning, because we'll be here forever. But I do think that this movie is about, it's attributing kind of nightmare visuals and logic to ordinary life.
Yeah,
which is kind of cool.
Which the whole family is creepy in this movie, because they do a great job of that too, especially finding are they the same actors and actresses playing two different families? Oh, okay,
same
good.
Actors.
And they play each other so different, which is really, really impressive as well. It's just very interesting, and unfortunately, it makes me think a lot about this movie. Which some movies are okay to think about a lot because it deals with meaning and stuff like that. This one is it didn't give me enough to be like, okay, I understand this, but why this, and then go look it up, kind of a situation.
Yeah, exactly. But I do also want to call out a couple of really good things about this movie. Lupita Nyong'o is fantastic
Yes.
in this entire movie. One of her best performances that I can think of, up there with 12 Years a Slave. I also think that Winston Duke is really great in this movie. Really funny and fun kind of dad character to have around.
He's such a dad. Yeah, that's it. That's
Also,
a perfect way.
it's really weird to see Tim Heidecker here.
Oh, yeah.
Very
It is
weird. But he works.
I mean, but he's not in the movie that much, which I think has a little bit of a benefit for it, because when you see him, he's very funny and everything that's happening with his family, and then a situation with them happens, which I thought that was shocking that more families had tethered. That was very interesting. I thought it was just going to be this one family, so I kind of like how they expanded on that.
Yeah, 100%. And I do also like. I thought the music in this movie is really good too.
Oh, it was very eerie. I'm like, why are they using this music? But in the moment, you're like, okay, this movie kind of slaps too. Like it really like gets you into the moment, which I really enjoyed. It was, again, it's a very interesting way of using music because it's not like your typical music. It's very eerie and like, I don't want to say out of place, but it wasn't what I was expecting.
Yeah, exactly. Alrighty, Kevin. So Us was your pick this week. Why don't you go ahead and give us your final thoughts and score?
Yeah, final thoughts and score. Unfortunately, I think this is the lowest of Jordan Peele's movies, but it doesn't mean it's a bad movie at this point. I really like the concept of the tethered or doppelgangers wanting to come out of their hiding places and giving a little bit of scares here and there as well. I did wish it was a little bit more scary, more than eerie. I got eerie vibes instead of scary vibes. And again, some people think this is really good horror and will go to it no matter what. This is a good horror movie, but I won't be going to it too much just because of like we said, all of the meanings in this, and there's nothing to give me that little crumble to bite on and explore or investigate more when I watch this movie again. So I do give it a 75 out of 100, which is 3 stars out of 5 for me.
All right. As for me, I think that this is not, like you said, it's not as good as Get Out or Nope. But I do think that Us is still doing enough to be more than effective as a horror movie. I think the cast is fantastic and really carries us through a script that's really well written. But ultimately, it's just that the fact that meaning and that metaphor isn't as clear as I think Peele was intending. I've seen some people say you can go this really shallow and just get a nice horror movie out of it, or you can continue to dig deep into meaning like we did, and you can get something new out of it. But I do think it's plenty creepy and fun enough to watch. So I gave it a 78 out of 100, which is 3.5 stars out of 5 on Letterboxd. But that's going to bring us to the end of this video. What did you guys think of Us? Hopefully you have some comments you can share with us down in the comment section down below. But remember to be respectful of one another because it's really not that hard. Next week, we're continuing our month-long theme of August, looking at films by directors of color. And next week, we're taking a look at the 2015 music biopic Straight Outta Compton, which I've been really excited to watch for a long time. But make sure to watch it before next week so you aren't spoiled. But thanks so much for watching. As always, we have this show that goes live every single Friday at 4 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we also have our weekly live stream, which goes live every single Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So thank you so much for watching. And until next time, make sure to keep those eyes on the screen.